Here we are on beautiful Jones Street.
You saw Ted Jones.
Sponsored by Stock L Dreamery, the most delicious vegan cheese on the market. We got original smoked paprika and chili, garlic and herbs, and I'll tell you what, guys, this is the best vegan cheese you'll have. Don't forget the cheddar melt. Enjoy the episode.
I did the naked comedy show here.
I've heard of that. What was that like?
It was a lot of fun. I did get heckled there, which is like so rude.
Yeah, you're super vulnerable. You were fully naked?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's like the only time. That was like, the show was so good, but when someone heckles you and you're naked, that's when you realize you're naked. Is like the moment someone says.
Yeah, because then it clicks.
Yeah, and like I would normally roast him, but it was like also at like this place that's like a community. It's like a sex community. And so, like, they're stupid. Crowds are stupid. But this guy thinks he's helping. And I, like, was kind of rude to him. And so it got weird. I'm like, why are y'all defending this guy? I'm the one naked on stage. And then they started giving me pity claps, which I was like, I hate that. I hate a pity clap.
How many people were at that show? Audience members?
Oh, I don't know. It was sold out. It was packed. I think maybe, like, minimum 50.
And then what do? They like put the phones in the bag beforehand, like
you just trust.
So they didn't take the phones.
I don't think so.
That's crazy.
I technically got on Brazilian TV for my stand-up for that because they filmed. There's these news people from Brazil. They have like this segment called Fantástico, which is apparently like the biggest show in Brazil, and they cover entertainment stories. So they were covering the naked show here. And so they filmed my set and they posted part of my stand-up they aired part of my stand-up live on Brazilian TV.
Yeah. Do you have to sign a waiver before that or no?
No.
Just
I feel like they should have. They should have, right?
Maybe.
But they interviewed me. I have no idea. They dubbed me over in Portuguese. I was hoping it was in Spanish so I could understand it, but it was Portuguese, which is very different from Spanish. Right. So I like couldn't understand it. They also said I'm 26. They said it was 28.
Oh.
Which isn't nice. That's not nice. I went home and got more Botox. Thanks. But I posted the naked show to OnlyFans. Like I sold it to people and then OnlyFans took it down. Like that's the only naked thing I've ever done on the internet. Because that's where they draw the line morally.
What? But how?
They were like, it's public nudity. I was like, it was a private show at a private facility.
Oh, okay.
I like tried to fight them on this.
Okay.
They said no. So I'm just going to.
Public nudity. Maybe. Okay. Maybe I can see that.
I don't know. But I made like $3,000 off of that, which wasn't bad.
And there were guys who did that show too, or just women?
Yeah, it was mainly guys.
Interesting.
It was, Daniel Paraffin was on it. And
really?
I made a point to not watch his set because I was like, I'm gonna roast you and I don't want it to just be all about your dick.
Right.
I don't want to see you naked before I roast you. I feel like that's just rude.
Yeah, get too much material. Interesting concept though, naked comedy show.
Yeah, they do a naked roast battle at Skankfest every year. Sarah Barnett's done it. I want to do it, but that also like if I have to roast someone who's like more fit than me, that will push me over the edge. Mentally.
More fit guy, you mean?
Yeah.
Or you do like girl versus girl?
They said they don't do girl versus girl there. I think too many guys would be excited about that.
Right.
Because like in general, when women roast each other, men love it. They love it too much. And I'm like, y'all just love seeing women like y'all are like
get catty.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't like that. But I feel like if it's just like a fat guy with a small dick, I wouldn't mind roasting him.
That's hilarious. Maybe I saw that show and I was like, all right, this could be an interesting play. I don't know, but maybe you do a naked special and then that goes crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. OnlyFans wouldn't let me post that though.
Yeah, but maybe Netflix
It
would.
is so funny that OnlyFans is getting into like posting comedy and doing like comedy sets, but they're like naked show. No.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you think you could post clips though, like on Instagram of that? Like if you
I've edited
you
it.
have.
Yeah.
Really?
I did one clip of it.
Do you have it? It's on your Instagram?
Yeah.
Can you send it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, send it.
I was just me like talking about it too because I wrote a lot of.
And you're also from like here up or what?
Yeah, I edited it from like here. I like just put a that was like, I don't want people seeing my body online.
Oh, that's so funny.
But I was a stripper for like a year in college, so it wasn't like the first time I've been naked on stage, but it was the least I've gotten paid for being naked on stage. Hello.
Okay, host of the Just Okay podcast. We did a little research.
Oh, we did some.
You from Austin?
Yeah.
And how long have you been in New York?
A little over a year.
Okay, so that water is all you. I see you have the fancy water ready to go. And now this is the third time I'm seeing you in this neighborhood. We won't specify it because I know you probably have stalkers, but you go to that coffee shop that I've been at, or I've been going to recently for like the past few months.
Yeah. I only started going there because you started going there.
Right, fair enough. And your friend lives close by.
Yeah, Sarah lives close by, and I go there whenever, I gotta wait to go get checked for the studs.
Right. What? But didn't you get to the last time I saw you got checked, right?
Yeah, they told me I have to stop coming as often.
Really? Well, is it free to get checked for STDs?
Yeah, it is free. I just
How often do you go?
like once every 3 months.
That seems relatively normal.
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
guess.
that seems like a normal amount, but
Yeah.
they just don't like that. I'm not like a good
Like a
investment.
familiar
They're like,
face.
at least
Right,
get
right.
something first.
Yeah. And then, because then they have to, well, but the place that tests you, it's not like they give you the medicine though. So why would you be a good investment? I get it's probably like some healthcare thing where like if they check off like somebody's positive, like they get more money to the company or something like that.
Probably.
Okay, so let's talk about your journey to New York.
Okay.
And your podcast, your comedy career, and so on and so forth. So let's start from the beginning. Go ahead.
I am from Austin, Texas. I moved here a year ago because I wanted to just live in a little more miserable circumstances, Austin, like the tourism that they have, it's drinking, and then there's like bats that fly from a bridge. People will
It's like a bat cat. Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it's just I never understood. I've seen it once in my life.
It's a tourist attraction. People go and see the bats.
The South Congress Bridge, there's bats that fly out of it like every day, and it smells like shit. You wait there for hours. It's
and you just see
pretty,
a flock of bats.
Yeah, you see a flock of bats. It's very underwhelming.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But you'd go at night or during the day to see this?
Like the end, like evening, like 5 p.m.
Okay, so you grew up in Austin, like you went to elementary, middle school, and high school, and then did you go to college there too?
I went to school at Texas State, which is like literally 30 minutes away. So
that's the Drake song, TSU, right? Have you heard of that song or no?
No.
You really haven't heard of that song? I feel like that's one of the bangers. No, I guess not. But yes, that's how I know about it. TSU. And do you miss it at all or no?
I miss it. I miss coffee shops there. I think they do that better.
This coffee shop that I've seen you at though is pretty,
That's a good coffee shop.
It's a good one, right?
It's a good coffee shop.
Yeah.
But like it's homier. It's homier in Texas. Like there's like outdoor seating everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think this particular one
They'll
ever
get to
has
know your
outdoor
name.
seating. Yeah. Well, I think that the people now do know my name and they know my order. So
Okay,
it's solid.
that's a plus.
How do you have your coffee?
I do just a cold brew with almond milk. That's like
The cold brew at this particular place, I don't like so much. I don't know if I like cold brew though. Too dark for me.
It's okay. It's not the best at this place, but I've had worse cold brew. Like Black Cat has the worst coffee I've had in my life.
Interesting.
Miserable coffee. But I don't know. It's homier in Texas. Whenever I go back, I would like go to this coffee shop every day for like 3 years, and they asked me about my dog, which I left my dog in Texas with my parents because I felt like an asshole if I took him from a place that has like a yard and his friends and then moved him into an apartment.
This is your family's dog or
My dog.
So you bought this dog after college?
I've had him since I was 18.
Wow. That's like a huge responsibility, no?
Yeah. So I've had him since I was 18. And I just felt like I would be an asshole to move a dog from like
like the green grass
the
to
green
the
grass
city.
to, like,
It'd be
shitting on
different
the
if it was like
sidewalk, like, he
city
would
to
be
the other way. Yeah. How old is he?
He's 8.
And does he miss you a lot? Do you know?
Yeah, he gets really
yeah.
salty when he sees me. Like it's like I
I'm
love you,
sure.
but he's like I'm gonna turn around.
Right.
Yeah.
Because every time you leave, the dog doesn't know when you're going to come back.
No, but he has such a good life there. He has my parents' dog. I felt like an alcoholic mom giving up like custody of the child.
Right. Like
for
you
a
just
better
had to
life.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. was better for the dog.
It was better for the dog.
And also, like, having a pet in New York, I mean, obviously it's a lot easier to have a cat, but you got to be pretty committed. And like you, especially being in comedy, it's probably so much more difficult to have a dog.
It's harder, especially because when I would go on the road in Texas, like if I had to fly out to go do shows, my parents live there, so they can like watch my dog.
Right,
but
right,
here
right.
you have to pay for sitters and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing Rover since I moved here, which is like good money, but it's also like miserable.
What's that? Walking a dog?
Kind of
babysitting?
Yeah, like babysitting dogs, and it's the worst when you're like responsible for another person's dog on the street, because like it will just act horribly and people are looking at you and you have to be like, it's not mine, like this isn't my dog, I wouldn't choose this one.
Do you have a specific amount of dogs that you limit yourself to? Like on the app, does it say like I could do 10? Okay.
I do one at a time.
But you could do more,
I
potentially.
could do more. I could be walking like 3 dogs, 4 dogs at a time, but that just seems like too much chaos.
Would that be cheaper for the person who was hiring you to do that?
I think it would be the same amount. I think I would just be making a lot better money.
Right.
But
Yeah.
at what cost?
Yeah, it's stressful because then you have to wear one of those belts, and then you have all this the dogs on the leash, right?
Yeah, pulling you in every direction. I feel like if I were to do that, I would just be on the floor at a point. Like it's just not.
Like dogs pulling you in every direction.
Yeah, it would. It would be painful. I can't imagine that's a good, because like one dog going forward, one going backwards, it would just split you in half.
Do any of your friends in Austin have like weird pets? I don't know why I asked that, but I just sense that maybe some of your friends have like snakes or some stuff like that.
Thank God, no. I don't think I know people with bunnies, which I think is just like, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But like, I don't want to go over to your place. It's going to smell bad.
Yeah, that's true. Or that you could be like allergic to bunnies.
I don't think I'm allergic. I just don't really fuck with bunnies like that. Like I'd never, it just seems like such a mediocre pet to get. Like one that doesn't love you back.
That's true.
My best friend, her younger brother got a pet turtle a few years ago. So I guess that's the weirdest pet.
So, well, the good thing about having a pet turtle is it would probably outlive you. You know, like dogs, it's a sad thought that no matter what, you're probably going to outlive them.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I would rather a dog, though, one that loves you back in affection and, like, just wants to hang out with you.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, what does a turtle do? It just, like, eats
Chills.
lettuce.
Yeah. Or grass.
Yeah.
That's like me. I'm a vegan. But I would like to think I eat more than just lettuce,
When did you go
rice,
vegan?
and beans. I had pretty invasive jaw surgery like almost 5 years ago. And I can only really chew soft foods for 3 to 4 months. And I kind of just made the transformation to not eating steak, burgers. And I was never really a cheese person or foodie.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's easier for me to not have as many options, I guess. Okay. And there's also good things that come with being vegan, you know. Whatever that may be.
I was vegan.
You were
I was vegan for a year.
Just a year? Okay.
Yeah, I was mentally ill. That was like my thing. I wasn't like, I was just like a white woman that like, I'm Mexican, but I feel like whenever I talk about being vegan, I'm like this, let's be real. It was pretty Caucasian of me, like to just be like a woman that's like.
But in Austin, it was probably relatively easy to be vegan, right? And what happened? What prompted it?
I think mental illness.
How do you mean though?
Being like, Kourtney Kardashian doesn't eat dairy, so I'm not gonna eat dairy. And then, but then I had to stay. I couldn't eat dairy for 4 years because after being vegan, I tried eating cheese and it gave me migrants.
I'm sure.
I already am like lactose intolerant, so that was just like a
lot of people are.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's. I think lactose, like people who are celiac take it so seriously, but I've never met too many lactose intolerant people who actually are committed to that, like
to not eating cheese. Yeah, because there's so many distractions also in today's society. It's like the pizza's right in front of your face, the cheese on anything. People say, anytime I really tell people I'm vegan, they're like, oh, I can never go without cheese is the number one thing that they say.
That's the easiest thing to replace though.
You think?
I was in Culinary in high school. I did like 4 years of it. I have like 12 hours towards culinary school, but I did nothing with it. But one thing that I really liked from it is I learned how to make lots of alternatives to cheese. Not specifically in the class, but like it because of how long I'd been already kind of like fucking with cooking.
Yeah.
It made it easier to like venture out. Like I make a fucking amazing cashew Alfredo phenomenal.
And that has the consistency of cheese, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What could replace cheese that somebody who's been eating cheese and is obsessed with cheese though? Because people talk about how there's no good vegan cheeses.
I just got into cheese though recently. I still don't think cheese is all that, like, it's fine. It's like, yeah, cheese and crackers, it's a good snack. But I've had like it's really like, I just started eating cheese and crackers. I've never.
People are obsessed.
I'm just like, eat an avocado if you need something to be creamy. I don't know. Kirby Lane, and it's a little diner in Austin, and they have like amazing Kirby queso. Basically, it's queso with like guacamole in it, but they have a really good cashew Kirby queso, so it's like I didn't miss it at all.
Cooking for 4 years in high school, and I imagine that you went to a big high school in Austin.
They tried, the CIA, Culinary Institute of America, trying to recruit me to go there.
They tried to recruit you. So they came to the school and there were like contests and stuff like that?
Yeah, so they wanted me to, there's like these competitions for culinary.
Wait, what was the high school that you went to? Maybe
I went to Cedar Park High School.
And how many kids graduated in your class?
I think 2,000.
Whoa. So it was like at 8,000 people in your high school?
Maybe. Wow. There were a lot of people in my class. Okay. And there were only like 20 kids in culinary though, because no one really wanted to do it. It was just like easier than doing like theater or like a sport. I was like, I'd rather just eat in class. That was my mindset. I didn't go into it because I was like, I want to cook. I was like, I want to eat. Which also like,
but that goes hand in hand. I feel like
they didn't. The thing was, they didn't want us to eat, but I would always sneak it. My teacher hated.
Yeah, well,
me.
but you have to try it out.
Yeah, I'm like, you're telling me I'm gonna make a sauce, and what if it needs more salt?
Yeah,
what
come
if it,
on,
come
you gotta
on.
try it, of course.
But yeah, and then I'm trying to think. We would do like little competitions. I didn't want to join the comp. I didn't want to get too deep in it. I was like, hey guys, I'm here to eat and cook for myself. I don't really want to like do this hardcore for every chef I've met has extreme anger issues and they channel too much of their energy into it.
The only reason I know that is because of like the reality shows and they're always yelling at people. Which I guess is like this kitchen is a stressful environment.
It's a stressful environment, but I had really bad anxiety in high school, so I don't like cooking meat because of culinary. Because I had like, I think I like went off anxiety medication, so I was having a lot of panic attacks, and like my OCD was really bad about like germs. So being in culinary, they like tell you about like every single horrible possibility there is if you cook food and it doesn't go well. And so I don't cook meat because of that. Like,
are you still like that with germs?
Yeah, the only meat I'll cook is steak, and that's because I don't really have to touch it.
Right.
Chicken gives me anxiety.
Like making burgers, you have to like.
Yeah, I don't do that. No, I can't. No,
okay.
I'm like, I'll buy steak from Trader Joe's, use tongs. I don't like touching. It gives me anxiety.
Okay, that makes sense though.
Yeah.
But you became a very good chef. What's the correct word for a woman chef?
A chef.
Okay, so it's a gender neutral. It's not chefette.
Chefette.
But you became really good just out of the blue, or you kind of always had a passion for cooking things like when you were younger?
My mom always made me cook. I think she pushed me to get into culinary because she didn't want to cook anymore.
All right, that's a good enough reason.
And like when I go home, she forces me to cook for her, and it's probably one of my least favorite things to do is to cook at home because of it.
But you took 4 years of...
I think, you know how like there's dance moms?
Yes.
It was like that, but with culinary.
Like you're really good, so you can do it, and maybe you do it because you're really good, but eventually you get burned out from it. Maybe do you cook a lot now still?
I am very lazy with cooking now. I buy like pre-made things from Trader Joe's, and then I'll like mix them together in a wrap. I only cook I only cook steak really now.
Okay, I want to talk about you getting recruited by the culinary
by the
school.
CIA.
Yeah, that's insane that it's called that.
They came to our school. We had a bunch of different culinary schools come to our class because we were one of the few. I think we were the only school in Austin that did that. So they all came there and they were all trying to like recruit us. And my teacher specifically singled me out because she really was like, she's very promising because my teacher, she was one of the head chefs for one of the Olympics. And so she's been like in...
She would feed the Olympians?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, it was she was like trying to inspire us with all the places you could go with culinary. I'm like, I don't really like traveling that much. Like the Olympics, that sounds cool, I guess, but like I don't want to make like lettuce, and I think it's like a lot of salads and salmon, and it just seems culinary is just kind of boring. Like food's good, but you don't really get to eat everything you make, and that was probably my biggest turnoff.
And being a chef is a job that requires so many hours, right?
Yeah, and it's lots of nights that like
Right.
I don't know. It's like, and it's such a stressful environment. I'm like, I don't want to have to do it. Like, I'm a quiet person. I don't want to have to like yell
Yell
at
at people.
work.
Right. Did any colleges offer you scholarships to go there and cook?
I didn't even apply. They like
Okay.
were like trying to get me to apply. And I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm not going to fill out an application. I did community college because I didn't have to write an essay, and then I transferred to Texas State because I also didn't have to write an essay. I like
Writing essays are annoying. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, it just writing a college essay just seems like bullshit. What's the hardest thing you've ever been through?
Yeah, right.
I was gonna be like, I'm dyslexic.
Are you dyslexic?
Yeah.
Wait, do you see numbers back, like you see 6 other
It's
sides?
just I'll read things out loud, and it's just like kind of messed up a little bit. Like sounding out things, reading out loud is the most vulnerable thing I could do.
When did you find out you were dyslexic?
I think I was in 5th grade.
Yeah, there were a few kids in my grade who were dyslexic. I imagine that's got to be very difficult. Because even like I can't even do reading comprehension, and I'm not dyslexic. It's tough.
I went to a dyslexic school for 1 year.
A dyslexic school?
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff were they trying to fix you or?
Yeah, they were trying to. There was like all these teachers that were specially trained for it. But I have a joke about it. But like I didn't realize it till like last year. But I took theater there, and it was just improv, which that was like strategic. They didn't want us reading out loud and acting.
Oh man, that's funny.
Like, and that would be like the most miserable job, to be the theater teacher at a dyslexic school. That just sounds like a punishment from God.
Yeah.
At that point.
Okay, let's talk about your podcast, Just
Okay.
Okay Podcast. What do you do on it?
I just talk. It's just okay. I don't want anyone to think it's better than that. I'm like, it's really mediocre at best. It's if you like me and like my friends. I've gotten real lazy though. I have like 3 episodes I have to edit. But one of my friends came on my podcast, Amy Shanker. She's one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah,
But
I know Amy.
She's the best. But she's also just kept Googling things in the middle of my podcast and was like,
You had a
oh,
lot of editing to do.
I got a lot more editing to do than I
right.
wanted to plan on doing.
Yeah, like the last episode, Tony Davis came on. You know Tony?
I think so.
And he, like the amount of things he was saying, and I was like, dude, you can't say that. I have to edit out. Or like he would say names and I have to bleep it out. I'm like, bro, stop.
I hate when people say things. They're like, can you cut that? I'm like, fuck you.
Or sometimes people are like, would you mind just sending me the episode? I was like, you came on here. This is the, I suppose. Yes, I'll send you the episode. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the episode, like that was the one when I just saw you at the coffee shop. That was the one that I was editing. It went from an hour and 18 minutes to it's probably going to end up being like 45 minutes. 45 minutes for real.
Yeah, mine was like an hour and a half, and majority of it was her looking things up on Google. And I'm like, you can't.
Yeah.
I was like, I love you to death, and I might just not post it because it's just one of those things. I'm like, this is going to be like at least a day of editing, and I don't.
It's a while, yeah.
It's a while, but
So you didn't play sports in high school?
I did
or what?
basketball freshman year.
All right.
But I was at a private Christian school for freshman year.
So you went to a dyslexic school, then a private Christian school. You were bouncing around a lot.
I transferred schools like 4 times. I went to a Christian school pretty much for like from kindergarten to 9th grade, but I went to the dyslexic school 1 year and then another Christian school for 1 year. I got bullied a lot because I'm really hot, and I think I got bullied a lot because I wasn't cool at a Christian school, which like was traumatic then, but looking back, it's like you don't want to be the cool one at a Christian school.
No, what was a cool person doing?
They
though?
just really loved God.
Right. And like we're big Bible people.
Yeah, it was like whoever.
What's your favorite verse?
They're like, yeah, let him pray. He's the best. It's like everyone just wanted so badly to pray the best.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
God, let us this meal bless us bountifully.
But being the new kid at school in Texas, I imagine would be probably pretty difficult too. 4 separate times, you said.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was like, I think
It was just because you were switching schools. It wasn't because like your parents switched districts or whatever,
I
right?
so badly wanted to go to public school like my whole life.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad just kept paying to get me traumatized. I was like, we could do this for free. Like, I think every childhood is traumatic in its own way. You don't need to like pay. Like, I think they didn't really help me out with college, but the amount of money they spent on private schools amounts to like at least like two degrees.
Yeah.
It was just too much money because they wanted me to learn about Jesus. The Christian school specifically that I was at the longest, 2 of them got canceled on Twitter for racism.
On Twitter?
Like a hardcore in college.
Was this during like the Black Lives Matter?
Before. This was like...
What did they say?
So one guy specifically, his mother was like the head of missions at the church, like mission trips. And he would go on the mission trips. And he had a Finsta.
Wait, where were the mission trips?
Like Haiti, you know, it's like just token like, oh my God, I'm so excited for the new friends I made in Haiti. Or like,
wait, what was this Finsta though?
He kept saying the
On his Finsta?
with pictures of these kids in like Haiti. And his mom's probably still the leader of mission. And it's just the most insane thing. Another guy I went to school with, he shot someone in the face. Another guy, like, I'm like, yeah, these are... I had a teacher in 5th grade, so I was just diagnosed with dyslexia. She called me stupid, and then later in her life, her son got accused of rape. And I'm like, that's kind of karma. Like, your son also went to school there.
Wait, okay, so the Twitter thing, though. Get back to the Twitter thing. Some kid was posting on his Finsta Twitter?
His Finsta, Instagram,
Right,
and then people
Instagram,
screenshot it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as he deserves. And so he told a bunch of us, he was like, I'm not racist, I promise. And it's like, we know you from growing up. We for sure think you're racist. Like, we had one black teacher at the whole school. It was like a very small private school. In my class, we started with 40 kids in kindergarten.
Started with
40 kids. And I think when I was in 9th grade there were 18. And like, it was a very small, very incestual, like it's you should know more than 18 kids.
I was going to say, you went from 18 kids to 2,000 kids.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh my God. I think that's also why I love New York, is because like,
you just see different types of people every second.
I still see people, like, I used to work doors for Rogan shows, and I would see people I went to high school with just like coming to the show, and it's just not fun. It's not fun to see people you grew up with all the time. But I live down the street from someone I grew up with here, so it's just weird. It didn't escape it at all. But yeah, he got canceled for racism. He was just like a stupid white guy. Because like, I was one of the few, I'm half Mexican. I look very white. Culturally, I am white. But I was like made fun of for being Mexican there because everyone there is so white.
Has the environment in Austin, Texas changed dramatically, like over the last 10 years?
Yeah, it's crazy. The skyline's I looked at a picture of it from like when I was in high school. I used to go downtown and like I saw a picture of the skyline, and there's like significantly more tall buildings now, which it's weird to see like the skyline change so fast there.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, it's called a city. It's not a city. It's a very small town. It's like a very small town. Like in New York, the big buildings are everywhere. Like we have like, when I was growing up, we probably had like 3.
What's the strip called? 6th Street?
6th Street.
Yeah.
That's where all the comedy clubs are now. But that's like where, before the pandemic, I used to go there blackout drunk when I was like underage. Shootings there happened like every night. And then Joe Rogan was like, oh, I'm going to build my comedy club over there.
And did that really change the environment, just besides even the comedy clubs, or like the city people? Well, I'm sure like now developers want to build buildings there, and it's just changed the whole area, right?
It has made it a little nicer, I think. Like, it's a lot more foot traffic during the day. But the homeless shelter's also like around the corner from the comedy clubs. Like, it's across the street from Creek and the Cave. All the comedy clubs are within like half a mile. The ones that are downtown. And I used to work the door at Vulcan Gas Company for Rogan shows and Kill Tony shows, and we you have the same homeless people there. It's very rare that there's a new homeless person there, and we all had our favorite one. You know, mine was we call this woman She-Hulk. She's crazy. She's like legitimately the most insane person I've ever met, and I love her with my whole life. She was being, she got really mad at one of my friends, and we were walking back to our cars, and She-Hulk was just peeing on the car.
Why though? Just because she was pissed at your friend, or literally pissed? Houston is the #1 obese city in the United States. Is Austin not?
Austin, I think, has a lot more fit people than Houston.
Right.
I think that if San Antonio is probably worse than Houston, in my
What's
opinion.
the issue? Why in Texas? Because maybe like what you said, the driving.
The driving, people get really weird about eating healthy there. Like, it's not hard to eat healthy, and in Texas, they just love cholesterol.
Like the
meats.
BBQ ribs and the meats. Yeah, smoked meats.
I will say, that is the one thing I miss most about Texas.
Is the smoked meats?
Is the smoked meats and Mexican food.
Right. What, rice and beans? Okay, where's the best Mexican food in Manhattan or New York City?
In Manhattan
Yes.
that I've had,
Okay.
there's like a chain of them. They have Taqueria, Gramercy,
Yeah,
East Village.
taqueria. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I love how they just named it Taqueria, and then it's for the different neighborhoods that they're in. But that's the most okay Mexican food. I know you can go out deep.
It's just
Queens.
okay?
It's okay, and that's what I grew up eating that. So it's like not
What does taqueria mean? Just taco place?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all it means. That's all it means. That's all it means. I walked past a place yesterday. I forgot what it was called, but they added a squiggly line under the O and then and then an accent mark above the R, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, they're just trying.
Have you ever had Tacombi?
Yes, that's okay. It's too expensive for okay. Like, it's not. I think taqueria is way better than that because you're also getting decently priced. Like in Texas, tacos, buy it from any truck. It's going to be a solid bet, $2.
Right.
I had a really bad quesadilla after I had a really bad night in Brooklyn, and I started crying.
Yeah, bad.
It was
Jam you up.
like I don't know how the cheese wasn't melted. I don't know why.
It was straight out of the refrigerator, straight on the
Also,
thing.
like, I just have, like, I think when you're going to sell a quesadilla, you have to note if it's corn tortilla. Because, like, a corn tortilla, you can't fold over. Like, I want a nice big flour tortilla folded in half, cut into 4 little triangles.
Okay.
That's how you do a quesadilla. If it's a 2 different corn tortillas, just, like, no melted. I feel like that's the easiest part of a quesadilla.
Do you get burritos too?
I don't really fuck with burritos.
Why not?
They're just like fun. Like, I don't know. I'm like, it's just like a thicker. I'm a bowl gal.
Okay. Do you like Chipotle?
I do like Chipotle. I know people are weird.
You know
about
what?
Chipotle.
Why are people weird about Chipotle?
I hate when people say it
Is this 'cause
fucks up
it's
your
an
stomach.
American thing? No.
I don't think it
so.
fucks up your stomach. I think you are just annoying.
And you're ordering probably the cream and the cheese.
Yeah, I
and
never ordered cream or cheese there. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
like the most. Just get guacamole if you want it to be creamy.
Yeah, true. Okay, fair enough.
I've always been on that train.
You know, you're one of the rare people though that speaks this way about cheese. People love cheese. I'll tell you that.
I know they do. And like, that is the one thing I like, am like, I understand. I just had brie for the first time this past year. Mm-hmm. It's like fine. I think cheese is fine and it's okay, but it's also like not necessary for food.
That's a hot take, potentially. I agree with you, but
yeah,
hot take.
Have you ever had the alternatives for cheese?
Yeah, I've had a ton.
Do you like
Actually,
any of
at the
them?
beginning of this episode, maybe this episode I have to check. Maybe I might have to cut this part out. But we have a vegan cheese sponsor, Stockout Dreamery.
So I get really also grossed out with the idea of cheese and how it's made. I don't like that it goes
How's
from...
it made? I know it comes from the udders, and then I don't
like how it
besides
just
that.
changes from like liquid to
Squirt.
solid
Yeah.
to like you have to age it. I don't want. That seems gross.
People love the wine and cheese, and like the smelly cheese people love too. And like the more a cheese smells, the more expensive it is. You ever notice that? Like a huge wheel and people are sawing it off.
I don't like that it's mold. It's mold. It's just gross to me. I'm like, mold, it gets what people moving out of apartments. Why are we putting it in our body?
Just scrape it off the wall. Yeah, I hear. I mean, I'm with you. But people love cheese. People love the meat from the cow and then the cheese from the cow too.
I've recently started fucking with feta cheese.
Yeah, but that's a smelly cheese too, don't you think?
It has the lowest lactose, I think, added cheese.
Okay.
Which is part of why I like it. It's super high in protein. I didn't know cheese had protein until this year. I didn't realize people like that's the main reason I started eating cheese, is because I'm trying to up my protein.
Okay, lit, nice, getting fit.
And it's like, it's okay. It's the only cheese I really eat.
What do you have it in?
I do a baked feta. I saw it on TikTok, and
You bake it yourself?
yeah. So
How do you do that?
you just put a block of cheese in the oven, and I put like grape tomatoes in it, and then I let it like just sit in there for like an
What's
hour.
your number one dish? Vegan dish, potential.
Vegan dish?
Yes.
I love making tacos.
All right.
I used to do the sofritas.
Hard shelled. Oh, tofu.
Yeah. I
Hard
love
shells
tofu.
or the soft, like corn.
At
By the way,
home, I always do soft.
I get sofritas at Chipotle when I go all the time.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good. I love the sofritas there. I just think tofu's great.
You can do so many things with it.
It's also very creamy. If you blend it, people need new personality traits besides liking cheese and wine. That's like a big white woman, like,
The wine and cheese parties.
I will say there is like something about like a nice like salami
Wine and cheese. Okay.
salami and cracker. Like I don't drink anymore, but when I did, it was at an old apartment complex I lived in Austin. They would do like wine nights. They would save me a bottle of Prosecco. I would never eat the cheese there, but they would like have an extra plate of salami and crackers for me because they knew I would pop off. But I don't remember what I was saying.
Why did you stop drinking?
I blacked out like every time I drank. And
Didn't really matter how much you had.
by the end of it, I just can't stop once I start. And being in comedy, like if I didn't do comedy, I would probably be drinking.
Yeah.
But like when you're around alcohol every night, you can't really. I don't want to be the drunk one at a show.
I probably drink now like once every six weeks or so, something like that. Like I'll have 1 or 2 drinks. But when I was in college, I used to drink a lot. It was like those Four Locos and Burnett's and stuff like that. But I don't really like the way I feel the next day too.
Yeah, I just don't think it's sustainable in comedy because also you're paid in drink tickets. So it's like they're encouraging you. I also got drugged at an open mic and I was just like, that was like, yeah. I've had like lots of traumatic things, but that's not what got me to stop. It's so crazy. I've had so many bad things where like I could have died happen, but what got me to stop was, I just want to be successful in comedy.
Yeah. Was this in Austin or New York?
In Austin.
Drugged at an open mic?
Yeah.
Another comic did this, or you don't know?
No,
who
it was
did
like it was a random guy at the bar. And so then I was in the hospital that night. The nurses were like, you were drugged, but they didn't test for what drug, which like I could have technically like died because they didn't test. And my friend Emerson took me to the hospital. So we were there for like hours. My dad came and picked me up. The next day we went to report it to the police. The police did not investigate. And the bar was like, oh, you mean that drunk woman? I'm like, I had 1 drink that night. And I shouldn't have been that crazy. But okay. Yeah. So it's just best not to do.
Do you know how it happened?
I know the exact drink. Over the pandemic, I got into gin, which I was like a tequila girl, and the drink was brown, and it should have been clear. And it's like, looking
back.
Yeah. I was like, I shouldn't have, but.
Oh my gosh.
It's free drugs. What am I going to do? Turn it down?
You're a big roaster too.
I do.
You're killing it in the roasting game.
Thank you. Yeah, I love doing roasts, and I've been getting to do a lot more of them since I moved here, which is also dope. And
has there been a favorite roast joke that you've had for someone? Potentially, you don't have to say their names if it was that insane.
It's not like a crazy roast.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, they have comedy roasts all over the place where you just rip somebody for, what is it? It's usually like 10 to 12 jokes, something like that.
It's generally 5 jokes. Okay. I'm finally getting to do like a main event roast, which is like fun. So I'm excited for that to happen this next month against Daniel Parafan. So that's just going to be like a fun one.
Oh my gosh,
because he's a
love it.
little goofball. I think it's my favorite roast joke I've written this year. Was about a fat guy and how like, cause he looks really like creepy and gross, but like despite his looks, he's not a rapist.
Do you have footage of it?
It bombed because the roast, he did a gimmick through the roast, which was so funny. I hate a gimmick. What's
that?
at a roast. It's like instead of doing a roast, you do your own thing instead.
Okay.
So he was like, yeah, I hit on Britney at a bar and I thought she was a real bitch to turn me down. And that was the whole shtick throughout like all 5 jokes. He was just kept saying how I rejected him, which never happened, which I would have, but like, you know, it never happened. Like I would have, but like, come on, man. I had one for Eric Asker and I had a pretty good back and forth, but at some point he was like, yeah, she has an OnlyFans. And I was like, yeah, and you keep paying me to make videos saying I love you.
Oh my gosh, that's good. That's good.
But yeah. And then back in Austin, I roasted one of my friends there, Chandler Roan, and he's bisexual and from Oklahoma. So that means he fucks his nieces and his nephews.
All right, so she's good. You guys hear it. You heard it here first. On the OnlyFans, do you put up comedy content?
Yeah, a lot of it's comedy. A lot of it's really just like, it's like a Finsta. Like, it's not like sexual really. Like, I will reserve, if I stop posting ass photos on Instagram unless I get paid to do it by like a brand. I have a joke about being a stripper. I don't like trying to work out that material though at open mics, because every time I do, it's just the rest of the mic is just guys going up talking about how they've been to a strip club once. But I was trying to work it out for this show specifically, and that's when I got heckled, and I was so like, guys, come on. This is the one thing I thought would go well.
Right. That's like low-hanging fruit for them to do that, I feel like. How much, if you don't mind me asking, how much money did you make from that 1 year of stripping? And it was in Texas?
Yeah, I would stripped in San Antonio because it was between Texas State and Texas State is like the middle between Austin and San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to strip where I'm from. That just sounds like a horrible idea. I made probably, I don't know how much, the most I've made in a night was like $3,000.
Not bad.
But there are nights where you'll leave a strip club and you owe money to the club for being there.
How?
Because you have a house fee. You have to pay the house mom in the back. Because in San Antonio, they have very weird stripping laws. Like in Austin, they have full nude comedy club. I'm not comedy club. I don't think anyone would want to go. A full nude comedy club.
Maybe some people.
That's just a bunch of
That's
random
hilarious.
white men that are naked on stage talking about how they can't get hard. It's like, yeah, we can see.
Look at this thing.
God. And then they have full nude strip clubs in Austin and in Houston. Houston's like known for their strip clubs, but in San Antonio, they have very weird specific laws. Like you have to have latex over your tits, and then you have to wear shorts that cover majority of your ass. Or if you're wearing like more of a bikini type bottom, you have to have it airbrushed, or else you can be arrested for prostitution. So I've never really been, that was the only time doing the naked comedy show I've ever actually been nude on stage.
All right.
But yeah, I left. Yeah, the least amount of money I made was like negative, like $20.
That's like going to a comedy show in New York City sometimes.
Yeah. There's so many times I'll like Uber to a spot and I'm like,
man. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not
funny.
getting paid for it.
We just love for the love of
For
spots.
the love of the game.
Yeah.
For the love of the game. Yeah, I went home to Texas like last month and I made such good money. I did my first cruise show, my first 2 cruise shows at Mothership, fly out the next day. Like I had a great set and then I fly out the next day and I was like, you know what, why don't I do an open mic today? I was like, oh, you'll do a mic and it's like the gym, but you hate yourself so much for doing it sometimes. It's like you could have a good day, do a mic, and then you're like, actually, I think I'm just going to go home and sulk for like 5 hours.
Yeah, unless you get a good quesadilla afterwards.
Yeah.
That's true. Brittany, thank you so much for coming on the pod. This was great. Before we get out of here, we're popping up your Instagram. Let us know where we can find you. And until the next time I see you at the coffee shop, please let us know where we can find you.
Britney LED on everything.
And check out your
Just Okay
podcast. Check out everything you got going on. Brittany, thanks so much for coming on. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.